What is up, guys? Delboy here. So Sullivan Barrera defeats Joe Smith Jr. by unanimous decision. In doing so, he takes Joe Smith Jr.'s WBC Silver International title. So that's boosted Sullivan Barrera's rankings. So maybe in the future he's going to be in line to fight, for a final eliminator, or maybe even get a title shot. But let's briefly talk about the fight. Not going to do a really detailed breakdown, but just my overall thoughts. The first round, Joe Smith came out fairly aggressively. He actually caught Barrera with a hook and drops him. So a really good start for Joe Smith Jr. But after that, he didn't really build on it. He had a good first round, but after that, Barrera was always in control. I made a note in my prediction that I just felt that Barrera's better technique and straighter punches would win him the day, and I think that was the case, really. I felt Barrera, he really did judge the distance quite well, Obviously, we know Joe Smith Jr. likes to come forward, he likes to put pressure on you, but I felt that Barrera's jab, followed by the right cross, always kept Joe Smith honest, and it always kept him sort of wary, Barrera was landing jabs at will, and he was landing that right hand fairly regularly. Also, when Joe Smith did get close, I felt Barrera did a good job of landing the right and left uppercut when Joe Smith did get close. Joe Smith, he kind of fights with his head down kind of thing, like compact, and he is open for those uppercuts, and Barrera was picking those quite well at times. I just felt it was a good boxing display from Barrera. I actually predicted that Barrera would get a mid-round stoppage. That wasn't the case, but it didn't surprise me the way it went, in terms of just Barrera being the better boxer. After round one, Joe Smith did have a few bits of success. He landed a couple of right hands, but nothing really clean. He did land, his best punch was actually the hook, the left hook, which he landed a few times, but yeah, he really struggled to get inside. He really struggled to put pressure on Barrera. He really needed to catch him again, and hurt him again, but he never did that. And yeah, it was quite a routine victory for Sullivan Barrera, and arguably, I think, maybe his best performance of his career, Since his loss to Andre Ward, he's had a couple of impressive victories. He took the undefeated record of Shabransky. He beat Paul Parker, who's an exciting fighter, and he's now beaten Joe Smith Jr., who is coming into this fight with some momentum, So I feel that Sullivan Barrera at this point deserves a big fight. He was supposed to fight Beterbiev, but he pulled out of that fight, which was a shame. But yeah, if he gets the Stevenson fight, I'd like to see it. I think he'll definitely give Adonis some problems, with his jab and his long-range boxing. And even his power, he does hit fairly hard as well. So I think Barrera definitely deserves a big fight. I would still like to see the Beterbiev fight, but I doubt he'll take that fight. Failing that, where does Barrera go if he can't get those fights? Maybe a fight with somebody like the Cleverly Badu Jack winner. I think that'd be a good fight. There's definitely some good fights for him to take at light heavyweight, But yeah, he's a good fighter, a solid technician, good jab, good right hand, good counter puncher, and he'll go onwards and upwards from here. As for Joe Smith Jr., again, he loses the fight, but to me, I kind of expected it. And regardless of that, he didn't disgrace himself, so I'm sure Joe Smith Jr. Can get another big fight. He's got an exciting style with power. So yeah, I mean, Joe Smith Jr. will definitely get another big fight. Again, if you look at some guys out there, why not match him up with somebody like, I don't know, Marcus Brown? I think that's a good fight. You could put him in there with somebody like Dimitri Bivol, anybody like that, There's still some exciting fights for him there, and I'm sure he can sort of rebuild and come again. But yeah, good fight. Turned out how I expected, apart from Smith seeing the distance. But yeah, good performance from Barrera. I was quite impressed. What did you guys think of this fight? Peace.